Hey, 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 hey. There once was a song that ran under the credits. These are the credits. This is where it goes. The movie is over. Now I'll have to say, hey, 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 hey. Y'all don't know nothing about that, Jonah, the VeggieTales movie soundtrack, do you? Have not watched that movie in so long. It's ridiculous. I should remedy that at some point in time. Remember watching that in the theaters. Good morning. Happy May 3rd. Welcome to the month of May. As you made it this far, hopefully it's gone good for you and that your May has been a pleasurable journey. No, I'm covering that up the wrong way. Eat. Better? Okay. Um, Welcome to May. Here we are. This is live streaming on Facebook. If you want to comment and talk while we record there. If you're listening to this on audio, you can find this video on YouTube and Facebook as we do this weekly. But let's jump right in because I got a yard to mow and some weddings to DJ and lots of fun stuff going on as we move forward with the month. Uh, let's go. Here we are. All right, first up in news. Over the past week, Eminem. Hey, good evening, Tristan Birch. I was about to tag you. I was like, hold on, let me tag Tristan, but you beat me to it. I hope your evening is treating you well. Over the past few weeks, Eminem has been teasing a new album. It'll be his first album in a minute that was original content. And the album that has been teased is The Death of Slim Shady, parenthesis, coup de grace, which will be the death of his alter ego. And I don't know what that means for the future of his music, but let's just look at this. Man's in his 50s, still putting out original content. Take it as a win. Now, that shouldn't seem like a big number. Lots of musicians put out music um, uh, in their 50s, but not a lot of rappers put out music in their 50s. So let's take that as a win if that's something that you're into. But Eminem will be putting out a new album in the near future called The Death of Some Shady, Coup de Grace. And you can check that out and watch some of the hype as that's building up because there will be lots of hype as we're heading that direction. And music news you didn't know you needed, wanted, or cared about, probably. William Shatner is releasing a new children's album. Rewind, put a pause there. William Shatner is releasing a new children's album. Why this is in the news is because the cover of the album was made with AI and people are mad about it. People aren't mad, excited, or happy. Sad. People aren't emotions about William Shatner releasing a children's album. People are upset that William Shatner used AI to create the cover of his children's album, which features him with I think it's a storybook surrounded by children of every nation and some elephants in the woods. So they're upset that William Shatner is using AI, considering we're talking about a dude who powered a spaceship. Hi, Rivka Birch. Rivka, right? Hope I'm not messing that up either. But people are just upset that William Shatner is releasing a AI cover on his children's album. So that's a fun thing. My relationship with AI has just gotten so like way hesitant with things. I get why it can do what it can do, but like we all had that one little period a few years back where everybody had AI profile photos and stuff. Like you paid your $5 and got your AI art. And then the backlash that happened after that over all my artist friends and everything else that were like, dude, that's, a party foul. I've not messed with it since. I'm a little sad that it's like the new search option on my phone, and all these other things that go with it. But I'm not here to tell you what to do with AI, but I'm just telling you that people still get really upset, I learned, when AI is used in conversations. And other things that are 1,000% going to upset some people and have some name calling take place is the NFL has officially announced that players are allowed to wear Guardian caps during games this season. If you don't know what that is, uh, you can look the imagery of a Guardian cap up. Um, but it is basically a extra layer of padding and impact absorption on the outside of a helmet. And it basically looks like if somebody 3D printed a hand grenade shell and put it on top of somebody's helmet. Now, uh, one, I think it's going to be criticized for, people saying, it's too soft of a game now, it's too weak, etc. That criticism is going to come. Beyond that, my first thought when I looked at the photo of what these Guardian caps looked like is that especially for quarterbacks, it makes you a bigger target because you, instead of having your team logo and the smooth helmet that blends in with everybody else's, you've got like a big funky grenade sticking on top of your head, and you are going to definitely stand out and become an easier target. And I also think it'll throw some people off their balance. I don't know how much these things weigh, but it looks like it, not necessarily heavy, but it definitely looks like it could throw you off if you're not used to wearing it. But they have been approved for in-game use this season. Doesn't mean they will be used, um, but they have been approved to be used. So that'll also come down as another factor if some teams are using it, if some teams aren't using it, etc. Um, but yeah, that's totally happening. Another thing that has come up in the last week is that for the fall of 2024, the fall of 2024, East Carolina University, which is a school about 2.5 hours from me, the Pirates. East Carolina University will be offering a Taylor Swift English class. Yes. um, they will be offering an English class. Um, concussion reduction is a good thing, Tristan. I 100% agree. Um, it's hearing people complain about it the whole time. That's not my favorite thing because I just know how people are going to be. And you can't let how people complain about things ruin things. But it's just like you can see stuff and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna whine about this. Um, if they could make them actually look more like their helmets, I think it would go smoother. We'll see. Um, but yes, East Carolina University is offering a Taylor Swift English class where you are going to study the English elements and writing stances, styles, poetry, etc. Um, of the writings of Taylor Swift. So if you would like college credit from a major university that is about the writings of Taylor Swift, by golly, now you're gonna have the chance. I personally like, outside of Taylor Swift, I think that's a cool idea to be able to study anyone's writings as an English class. Bob Dylan has over 648 songs, I think, at this point. I've got a book of just his first 619 songs in a hardback book. So instead, the idea of studying Taylor Swift writings as an English class is definitely an interesting one, and I'm sure it is striking while the iron is hot. Um, but it could be definitely functional, and because if anybody's put a lot of lyrical content and style into it, it's Taylor. Um, this past week, there was a massive tornado that tore through the Midwest of our country. Um, it destroyed lots in Oklahoma, train cars, things like that. One of the things that you may see actually transfer into your day-to-day life if you live within the South and mid portions of the United States is that the tornado destroyed the Dollar Tree warehouse. So the place where Dollar Tree stores all their stuff in Marietta, Oklahoma, the tornado went right through it. So you may see shortages and things like that there if you are a Dollar Tree person. Um, But yeah, there was a lot of loss of life. I've got notes about that earlier and about how far much the tornado did damage, but it's the tornadoes in Oklahoma and the Midwest. We know that's part of life, but it's also horrible when it affects people like that. And news that has zero impact on life or the quality of it. A man in New York City in Central Park posted flyers, social media, TikToks, and things. A masked man invited people to watch him eat an entire jar of cheese balls in Central Park. Um, and put up flyers, put up, posters, made TikToks, the whole deal. This masked man, cheese ball man at TikTok, uh, promoted this, and sure enough, thousands of people came to watch and cheer this man on as he ate an entire big monster jug of cheese balls. And they cheered him on. Other people brought their own cheese balls to throw out into the crowd. Lots of media showed up to cover it. And it's just one of those weird, you know, people can get behind anything. So when I just want to tell you this, if you're saying, "Oh, I can't get people to support my dream or my vision or to show up," this dude literally got people to show up in the middle of New York City to watch him eat a jar of cheese balls. I believe in you. I believe you can do anything if this man can get this much attention um, to get people to watch him eat a jar of cheese balls. So, you know, chew on that. As I posted the video earlier in the week, Russell Brand got baptized on this past Sunday, and he also posted a video talking about his baptism experience and what it meant to him spiritually, personally, encouraging wise. He then later on this past week went on to discuss his baptism on his podcast channel himself and on his show with that. And he's got a lot of encouraging things to say. And, I understand that Russell has been a problematic person to a lot of people. And, celebrity life is its own weird culture. But, as I stand by firmly, any step towards Christ is worth celebrating. And if Russell is, it's not even for me to judge if he's genuine. He's celebrating these things and he's doing it publicly. And I celebrate with him. And I think it's great. Um, Darius Rucker, lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, one of my all-time favorite musicians, is dropping a book called Life's Too Short that will be out on May 28th. Um, Sony Sonfeld, who is the drummer for Hootie, previously put out a book um, that was more of a testimonial of Christ and his life and redemption and journey. I don't know what Darius's book is going to be other than his life. And he recently just got arrested for some drug possession in Tennessee. Uh, but it's his life, and he's gonna do it. And I'm probably gonna buy it and read it. Um, because life is too short, as Scripture also tells us. Vapors and such. But Darius is putting out a book. It's May 28th. The critically and personally praised My Adventures with Superman animated series slash anime, whatever you want to call it, is going to be making a comeback on May 25th. This season will be introducing us to Lex Luthor and a myriad of super other characters, including Supergirl. And it is going to premiere on May 25th on Adult Swim with a 1 hour premiere, and then you'll be able to watch it on Max, you know, the next day. So honestly, this is probably one of the best pieces of animated stuff since the first couple seasons of Young Justice for DC, and I highly recommend you check that out. Some stuff coming out this week. Tomorrow, Star Wars Tales of the Empire premieres on Disney Plus, which is the new um Disney series, and some of it will also feature a young woman becoming an inquisitor. So that's an interesting take there. My Hero Academia season 7 also premieres tomorrow, and the new season of Doctor Who premieres next Friday, and then Demon Slayer season 4 premieres on May 12th, which is Mother's Day. So lots coming out in the anime bubble. Also, take time to remind you that Judah and the Lion's new album, The Process, will drop on Friday, May 10th as well. And that 21 Pilots new album, Clancy, has been pushed back to May 24th. But the movie If, starring yeah, My Hero Academia is, listen, I've been staying up on the manga. I haven't watched this anime in a hot minute for My Hero just because of time, but that Dark Deku arc in My Hero Academia was pretty fantastic. And the stuff that was coming out. Um, but yeah, all that's coming out. But the movie If with John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds and Steve Carell and everybody and her mom is going to be also dropping on May 17th. So really looking forward to that. Um, if you have been paying attention to stuff, Paul Walter Hauser had recently been tapped to play Chris Farley in a biography movie of the late comedian's life. Paul Walter Hauser. I don't know him from like much or anything. He was going to be he's going to be playing Chris Farley in a movie directed by Josh Gad Olaf, um, about the life of Chris Farley. But Paul Walter Hauser is now joining the cast of the Fantastic Four. I don't know who as or what, and nobody else apparently does either. But he will officially be joining the cast of Fantastic Four, which is supposed to drop in July 25th, 2025. And so, yeah, the cast is interesting. Like, my first thought is the robot Herbie, right, for the Fantastic Four, but I don't know, man. I don't know who he's going to be playing. Um, if you've been watching the show Fire Country, which I have not, um, Morena Baccarin, who played Inara on Firefly, and uh, was also I think she Leslie Tompkins in Gotham, and she's also Vanessa in Deadpool, of nerd culture fame. She also had her own sci-fi show called V that didn't work out well. Um, but Miranda Baccarin is getting her own spin-off show of Fire Country called Sheriff Country. Apparently the show she's been on has done well enough. She's getting her own spin-off show with it. And uh yeah, if I'm just a fan of her as a person, so we'll see how that goes. Uh to this month slash year, whatever, marks the 10th anniversary of the Social Club Misfits album Misfits 2, which was their first feature-length majorly released album. It was the album that introduced me to them. They had the song Cops on it. Um, and yeah, it was just a really solid album. But they released a version of the album last night called Misfits 2 10 Years. And it's the original album from 10 years ago plus three new tracks. And I'm a fan of Social Club Misfits. I liked them when they were just Social Club without the Misfits. Um, but that's still pretty cool. Um, one of the episodes of Bluey that has been long banned in America, like you can't watch it on Disney Plus in America, which is called Hey Josh, good morning. Um, there's an episode called Dad Baby, which talks about pregnancy and childbirth, and it was banned for Disney Plus because, they straight up didn't want to have a conversation about where babies come from on Disney Plus like that. Um, and that banned episode has now been officially uploaded to YouTube. You could always find it unofficially on YouTube. Now you can find it officially on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, it is actually a really good episode. And if you have kids and you want to explain childbirth, it's not a bad episode for doing so. Um, Dan Schneider, the guy who has was a showrunner for Nickelodeon, um, that has been heavily under fire um, from the HBO docuseries Quiet on the Set, the one about the abuse of Disney stars, or not Disney, sorry, Nickelodeon stars in their youth, is suing over the series for defamation of character and lots of other things. Yeah, not surprised by that because the man's whole life was just pooped on by the whole world at once, and everybody's looking at him and, kind of hates him. But he is suing over the series, and you'll see how that plays out. Um, on Nickelodeon news and stuff that, again, I don't know that we need, but here's hoping it's good. The Fairly Odd Parents are making a return with a new kid, a different child. And the animation will be 3D-ish, no longer the 2D pencil animation. It will be a 3D re-envisioning of the show, and it's called The Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish, which features a young lady as the child of uh, Wanda, as the child that is wished upon by Cosmo and Wanda. So yeah, more Fairly Odd Parents. Now, if you aren't aware, there was a Rugrats reboot that didn't do great with 3D animation, and which I forgot that existed until they were saying, it didn't do well. So I don't know. I think Nicktoons were fine. I don't know that we bring them back. Um, but there are people excited about it. There's people that are going to be so pumped at a new Fairly Odd Parents, and I wish those people well, and I hope it's as good as they want it to be. Um, for the movie Fall Guy drops in theaters this week, which it stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and Rebecca. Not Rebecca. Sorry, I went to her character name. Um, Hannah Waddington, who played Rebecca on Ted Lasso. Um, Movie drops into theaters this week, and on the red carpets, Ryan Gosling and Mike Day showed up as Beavis and Butthead, which they did previously on the week before of SNL, which was one of the most highly rated SNL sketches in a while. So they crashed the runway as Beavis and Butthead, which was fun to promote or maybe to celebrate because I don't think they need to promote X-Men 97 anymore because X-Men 97 is already kicking all the butt and taking all the names. Um, but as a partnership with Airbnb, um, there is an X-Men 97 Airbnb in New York City, which is literally an old mansion that they have fully converted into Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. I'm talking to a severed Sentinel head in the front yard, a Cerebro chamber, Wolverine's bedroom where you can recreate the meme with the picture frame, Jubilee's room where you can try on her glasses and coat. Like there's a full produced by the show Airbnb, and it only costs $97 to stay there for a night, which that's dirt cheap for anywhere. But the fact that you can stay in an actual Marvel Airbnb produced by the show is fantastic. If you're in the New York area. Um, but you can't just book it. You have to go to book it, choose your availability, proceed to booking it, and then once you get into that portion, you put down your reason why you want to stay there. And basically, it's almost a contest. Um, yeah, you should do that, Josh. Josh says he's gonna go check that out. Like just even walking in the front yard where the that Sentinel head is pretty amazing from what I've seen. But you put down why you want to stay there. Um, and then they let you choose, then they'll choose if you get to stay there. Um, and X-Men 97, yeah, Tristan says it's better than he expected. It's better than I expected too. I haven't necessarily seen a lot of development for Nightcrawler, but I'm just glad he's there. Doing the three sword style was very, Roronoa Zoro this past week. I will say the imagery of from Wolverine's perspective of being teleported by Nightcrawler in the middle of a fight was executed wonderfully. I was like, that was well done. That was worth applause right there. Um, but that's cool. Um, I have really been impressed by X-Men 97. And on this note too, I'll also add there is also an Up themed Airbnb that is out now, where you stay in a house that is made to look perfectly like the house from Up, including all the balloons. But here's where it gets bonkers. When you rent the Airbnb and you go inside and you like are officially secured in, the house is lifted into the air by a giant crane, and you stay in the house suspended above the ground, like, I'm not going to tell you the number of feet, but real high. And so you're in an Airbnb house that looks like the house from Up, and you're literally floating in the air suspended from a crane, which comes out of the top of the balloons. So even in photos and stuff, it looks like, if you don't notice the crane, it looks like you're just staying in a house. Hard pass on that one, but I, appreciate anybody that truly cares to go do that. Um, on negative news, sorry, don't love the negative. The Rock is being reportedly causing major trouble on the set of his film Red One, which co-stars him and Chris Evans as a Christmas film. Um, and that his behavior has caused a financial crisis that's putting the film in jeopardy. Based on reports from major news networks and everything, The Rock has been showing up anywhere between 6 and 8 hours late for shoots, which causes everyone else's financials to go bonkers. And he's also been displaying, I don't want to get in trouble for saying this on TikTok or Facebook. Um, he's been relieving himself in water bottles on set rather than going to relieve himself in private, and it's grossing people out. So that you can find this on IGN and other places, they're talking about it and with that. But it's, Red One is a film that's been in the works for a hot minute, but studio denies that they're in trouble with it. um Either way, that's just kind of funky. um it's been a weird year for The Rock, between Black Adam and the return to WWE, the rejection of WWE, and then stuff like this. I'm hoping things pull out for him, but that's a rough thing to head into. Going into it with it. Um, if you are a fan of the Batman Arkham games, you can get kind of excited, but don't get really excited. There is a new Batman Arkham game for the first time in years. It is called Batman Arkham Shadow, but it's going to be VR exclusive. So it will be exclusively on the Meta Quest 3 in 2024. So if you happen to be one of the folks that own a Meta Quest 3, you can play the new Arkham game. That won't be me. I don't know that I'll ever jump on the VR, lifestyle. You never say never, but yeah, I'm kind of sad that an Arkham game is going to be an exclusive like that. Uh, if you're familiar, The Big Bang Theory existed. Then there was the spin-off prequel series, Young Sheldon. Now there's a spin-off sequel series to Young Sheldon, uh, which follows George and Mandy, uh, Sheldon's brother and wife, Sheldon's brother's wife. So uh, George and Mandy are making it work. Um, so that's, yeah, if you needed a sequel to the prequel of Big Bang Theory, you're getting that. Um, and other weird sequel slash reboot news. There is a reboot of Matlock coming. If you're familiar, Matlock was the long-standing, critically acclaimed lawyer series starring Andy Griffith. And it's something that if you grew up in my generation, your grandmother probably watched in between soap operas when you stayed at her house. Um, but Matlock is getting a reboot starring Kathy Bates as Matlock. So Kathy Bates will be playing Matlock in this reboot. Jason Ritter is also in the series. So if you were a fan of Matlock or of Kathy Bates, or Joe Bennett from The Office, you're going to get a chance to see some new razzle dazzle in the courtroom from Kathy Bates. And that's pretty cool. On, stuff that I did not have on my May bingo card. The Chosen, which gets a lot of shout outs here. The Chosen is now streaming on Disney Plus. Surprise. Um, you can watch the first three seasons of The Chosen on Disney Plus, and they're saying that when season four does hit streaming, it's going directly to Disney Plus as well. So, um, maybe with some of that Disney money, they'll be able to finish the rest of the seasons pretty strongly. Uh, my friend Todd Turner's wife, Kathy, just went to go film uh some of The Chosen as an extra. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, The Chosen is now streaming on Disney Plus. Merry Christmas. Uh on terms of some other gospel representation on TV, as we announced last Friday, Mandisa, the American Idol phenomenon, gospel singer, just one of the better voices of Christian contemporary music in the last few years, passed away last week. American Idol paid a tribute to her this week with American Idol alums Danny Gokey, Colton Dixon, and Melinda Doolittle singing gospel songs and songs in tribute to Mandisa. So that was definitely a shock last week because that happened right when I woke up last week. And on that note, uh, because her death was so sudden and so unexpected, there was concern of self-harm. Her father, uh, Mandisa's father, said there was, and this is her dad talking, so, I get it. It may not be the full, unbiased side of things. Mandisa's father said there was absolutely no self-harm involved, and that the reality is, it looks like she might have died to COVID relations. Um, and her dad says that she was still recovering from COVID when she passed, and so that it more than likely was related to COVID. Um, so, which is its own sad thing. Uh, in other Christian entertainment related news, Unsung Hero, the movie about King and Country and Rebecca St. James and their whole family story, did really well at the box office, swinging in an $8 million haul at the box office for their first week. That's great for that type of movie. And the reality is that's right up there with I think the second week of Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare and Godzilla pulled in the same amount for that week. So they were keeping tabs with the heavy hitters of the week. So Unsung Hero has been critically praised and financially doing pretty well at the box office. Cuban Gooding Jr. of Jerry Maguire fame and lots of other things is in a movie called The Firing Squad and plays a drug dealer that turns to Christ. And he said that filming this movie reminded him that he needs to check on his own redemption story and that it's time for him to get back to God. So you can look. This appears to be Firing Squad looks like it's going to be a Christian film, just in general, not just a film about a Christian, but it looks very Christian based. So Firing Squad, Cuban Gooding Jr. with that. The internet has been ablaze for the past week, uh, talking about the discussion of men versus bears. There was a TikToker that made the statement that seeing a man in the woods, if you're a female, seeing a man in the woods when you're alone is scarier than seeing a bear. And then it turned to street questions of asking people, if you were alone in the woods, which would you rather run into, a man or a bear? And lots of uh commentary about our social stance is revealed in people's answers, and with that, and it's real easy to for people to lash out, and you want to fight back and defend things, but I think it's also really important that we listen to people, and rather than just reacting to maybe our feelings being hurt or our pride being wounded, that we actually listen to where people are and try and meet them where they're at. And even if the conversation doesn't involve you, it's always good to listen and see what you can do better in your life. But that was the big deal, man or bear, and it's still going pretty strong. And a whistleblower for Boeing, a man who was a quality control inspector for things like Spirit Airlines, of that nature, blew the whistle on some stuff about Boeing airplanes, and then suddenly died of a mysterious illness in a short window at the age of 44. That's crazy. It's crazy. But his name is Josh Dean, and but he was fired for speaking up about safety regulations with Boeing, and then mysteriously died of an illness. Um, I don't like it. And other less scary "Don't Come After Me" news. Um, Drake and yeah, that's not sketch at all, Amanda. Um, Drake and Kendrick Lamar have been beefing, in their own little battle rap world. And this week the TikToks and the internets have been a buzz with response to Kendrick Lamar's diss of Drake, because Kendrick Lamar released a whole diss track, to my understanding it's called Euphoria, where he goes after Drake uh from his ethnicity and identity to his fake persona to his parenting to just generally not liking way the man walks. And so if you are interested in battle rap or diss tracks and things like that, it got pretty spicy up in there. Um, so I'm not telling you you gotta go down that road, but it went pretty gangster. Um, it starts off real slow, and then Kendrick just starts punching people in the mouth for no reason. A North Carolina mom had a pretty big shock in her life, and because their young child uh uh woke up the mom to say there's monsters in the wall. Now, if you have small children or anything like that, or if you've watched any amount of horror TV or movies, saying there's a monster under the bed or in the bathroom or under, wherever, that's normal kid stuff. That kind of happens. Um, the scarier thing was that after the parents actually started investigating, they heard something in the walls. And they were shocked, horrified, terrified, scared, whatever word you want to choose there, to find that 60,000 bees had built their home uh in the space between this child's wall and the next room. 60,000 bees. So if you're ever wondering where all the bees are and why the bees are missing, it's because they're in this kid's bedroom. But they called beekeepers and uh whatever the word is for people that take care of bugs, I forgot, to come and safely remove them and do all this stuff. But literally, this kid had 60,000 bees in her wall. And all I can think of is like this is the most extreme horror movie version of the movie My Girl. He can't see without his glasses. Um, so yikes. 60,000 bees in the wall. Uh on another yikes note, um and normally I don't like to just poop on fallen clergy. Listen, I know the my girl thing was a low blow. That was probably the first trauma I got from television was Henry with the glasses and my girl. I remember sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor in my bedroom on my little TV that had the turn knobs, watching my girl eating a bowl of Lucky Charms. And when it got to the he can't see without his glasses, I was dead. I like literally just sat there sobbing into my Lucky Charms. Um, but yeah. And now normally when there's fallen clergy stuff and like disgraced ministers and stuff like that, I don't like to throw people under the rug because it could be me any day. Like I'm not by the grace of God, there go I, right? Um, but I'm gonna throw this dude's name out because this is bonkers. And it's less sketchy and more like bad life choices. Um, Reverend Lawrence Kozak um said he had no excuse. Um, I'm sorry for breaking your heart, Amanda. Reverend Kozak says that he has no excuse because he um unintentionally slash accidentally slash uh fell in too deep by spending $40,000 of church funds on Candy Crush. Candy Crush. My guy used the church credit card um for Candy Crush and racked up $40,000 in debt for Candy Crush. Now, he said initially that he didn't mean to use the church card, but even that, because listen, I've done that. My church card is on my Amazon account, and sometimes I've accidentally bought whatever. Um, I've bought the wrong thing, clicked the wrong button, and bought like a book or, candle wicks or something on the church card. I get it. That's totally feasible. But my dude spent 40 grand of the church card on Candy Crush. Now here's the deal. He had already racked up 10 grand in Candy Crush in his own debt. So to be able, I mean, this dude literally bought a house for what he racked up in uh Candy Crush debt. So just throwing it out there. Um By the way, just revisiting back to the Rock story, the reports are that the Rock's tardiness, if I didn't say this already, is set the movie Red One back by $50 million. That was the note I forgot to put in there. And other crazy news, again, just showing you that it's, more a condition of the human heart. Um, I don't know if there's anybody in their 20s, I'm an old man, sort of. Um, but in London, a man went on a sword attack spree where a man was literally running around with a sword, slashing and stabbing people. And a 14-year-old boy was killed, and I believe six other people were injured before the man was taken down. And again, sword, gun, rock, knife, there's just darkness in our hearts. And we, there's a, before the song A New Hope on Five Iron Frenzy's live album, they addressed Columbine High School because their live album happened right after Columbine High School, and two of Five Iron Frenzy's band members had a little sister at Columbine during the shooting, and they did the intro to the song A New Hope, talking about how it's just the darkness in our hearts. And I've never heard a better explanation for things like that than that. The proof that the Youth are Revolting album, Reese's explanation of that, and it stands true for every time I see something like this. That mankind is dark, and that's the type of stuff we do without God and without our hearts being in a better place. Um, A tsunami alert has been called in Indonesia. Um, a volcano dubbed Ring of Fire has erupted. And it's sending smoke and ash 3 miles high. So 3 miles vertically is smoke and ash coming out of this volcano. And it's causing ripples through the water and potentially a lot of damage in that capacity. So a tsunami warning has been issued, whether it followed up with tsunami or not, unfollowed with that yet, but that volcano has dropped and did that. And a scary but also fun note. Oh yeah, it is an emo reference. You're right. Um, but a cat traveled 700 miles in an Amazon returns box. The cat was found and its owners got it back. But a family had sat some packaging out to be dropped off to Amazon to be picked up by Amazon delivery and for something they were returning. And the cat crawled inside the box and the cat got shipped. The family was astonished and scared that they couldn't find their cat, like missing posters, the searching the neighborhood, the whole deal. Um, and the cat's chip uh turned on and showed up when the cat was found in an Amazon facility 700 miles from its original departure date. The family got on a plane, flew to Amazon, and got their cat back. But yeah, that cat had an adventure, and I'm waiting on the movie because, that's going to be a movie at some point in time. Um, but going back to the tornadoes in Oklahoma as well. 4 people were reported killed the last time I saw with that from Oklahoma, Iowa, Nebraska. Um, and yeah. And on just the last couple notes, there's a live action He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe, that really that is going to be part of Amazon coming in 2026, in June of 2026. So that's a thing. But yeah, that's kind of the big news. Last weekend I ended up going to a Comic Con I wasn't planning on. And it was nice to be back in the con world for a little bit. Um, I designed a new sticker this week and ordered a new shirt. Um, that will hopefully the shirt will hopefully be coming soon. But I did a podcast recently with Nathan Webb of Checkpoint Church, and just something in the conversation with him made me think of just telling people God loves you is can also feel really distant, or that God, things like that. But one of the things that just kind of stuck out me through our conversation was that God is a fan of you. And I feel like there might be people that can accept that before they can accept that God loves them. And has the reference of Psalm 139:14. I praise you because I'm fearfully, wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Um, and I think it'll be a good conversation starter. So I made a design for that, for a sticker and for a shirt. And so I reordered my shirts for con season to try and get ready for that and be prepared. On that note, today, May 3rd, is officially 10 years since my first booth set up with Faith and Fandom. My first booth was at Free Comic Book Day at what was the comic book shop called? Um, they've shut down for years now. Um, it was my favorite comic book shop. Can't remember. Um, but today is 10 years since our first booth set up. Um, and I'll post a picture of our first booth versus where we're at now. But today, May 3rd, was our first booth setup, so I thought it was pretty cool. Um, so that's coming up with that new shirt. On the shirt subject, one of the original shirts that I've used I had 2 shirts that I used when I started Faith and Fandom. One was a Doctor Who shirt, one was a Batman shirt. The Batman shirt we've redesigned. because the old screen broke and I had to redesign it. The Doctor Who shirt I am discontinuing. Um, I feel like I'm gonna redo a Doctor Who shirt in the future, but I can't afford to, for space and financial, to have more than 6 shirts. And so the Doctor Who shirt is gonna take a bow out. I love Doctor Who as well. But I've had the same boring design for 10 years. Um, so I'm going to, and it's not the most creatively designed shirt either. I did that on like Microsoft Paint a decade ago. Um, but for real. But I have a handful of the original, of not the original, but like the last batch of Doctor Who shirts. I have 5 small and 3 large, and I'm going to sell those for $5. So if you happen to wear a small or a large, or you're a medium in denial, um, I have 8 Doctor Who shirts for $5 each. That I'm going to be selling those. I'm going to post that somewhere in the near future. And uh, that'll be fun. As that's coming up. And also, I'm currently doing Pin a Day May, which is just something I saw and did maybe 4 years ago and decided to do it again this year. I try and do like stuff that takes up a lot of time in cycles so it doesn't just bug feed all the time. But it's where each day is showing an enamel pin. And I tied it in that this year that each pin a day May, the prompts were determined by the first 31 chapters of Faith and Fandom Bite Size. So, like, I literally just went through with Faith and Fandom Bite Size and picked a word or a theme that fit with that, and that became the prompt for each day. So, today's one for May 3rd is 2 or 3. And like the pin I'm going to show is I've already got a picture of it, but I haven't posted it yet. I've got an enamel pin of Fezzik, Inigo, and Vicini in a lineup like the usual suspects. And so that's gonna be my 2 or 3 pin. So that's just kind of cool. And with that, I also put the first 31 chapters of Faith and Fandom Bite Size in a blog on faithandfandom.org. I've put books 1 through 9 for free to read on the website. I didn't do bite size because I'm lazy and I didn't want to make 101 chapters of different individual blogs. And I was like, I don't want to make 101 blogs at all. That sounds like a lot of work. But I put the first 31 in one blog. So if you want to check that out, you can read the first 31 there with that. Before I bounce out of here, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters, because y'all are fantastic. And some upcoming news, I think I can start announcing this. One of our Patreon supporters is Zach Harris, and he's a cool dude that has been a big supporter of me for a long time. And he actually is kind of one of the pioneers for church-based Comic Cons that I've seen, and I actually learned a good bit from him in doing my own Comic Con. But Zach Harris is I'm going to be partnering with him and his church in North Dakota. And I am flying out to North Dakota the first week of June to run a superhero Bible camp, VBS type thing for his church. So I'm going to be going out in North Dakota. We're going to be running basically just a faith and fandom camp of, we'll do one day talking about Captain America, one day talking about the Green Lanterns and what's in our heart. We're going to do a day talking about adopting family like Batman. And we're going to do 4 days. And I think every kid, none of this is concrete yet. We're still working out details, but I think every kid's also going to get a copy of Can I Still Wear My Cape or Faith and Fandom Junior or something like that. We're working out details. But that first week in June, going to be heading out, I think the 4th through the 7th to do that. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Um, yeah, our Patreon supporters, I want to take a moment to thank David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, uh, uh, JG, sorry, JB, Jason, or Jacob Gibson, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family, who are super cool. Appreciate them. Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Candace Davis, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you for taking the time to, um, yes, that is your name. I was like, it was just listed as JG, and I'm like, I've like always like brain fart. I'm like, wait, what's it JG stand for? Um, but yeah, Jacob Gibson, thank you, dude. Um, but thank y'all for taking the time to support, for making all of this possible, and for being good support because it makes a big difference. Getting to do a con last week was nice, but it also is like, oh man, hey, you're about out of everything. So I was like out of 4 books. And I was like, oh, I dropped the ball. I wasn't ready. So I've reordered all my books, reordered stickers, and just placed an order for shirts. And so I'm like there that's a gut punch to place all that order at once. And like this week I had to fix my air conditioning, which that's not y'all's problem. But like, you know, ordering all that stuff in the same week where I fixed an air conditioning was like, this is a bad life choice. But you know what? It was less of a bad life choice because of how y'all support it. So thank you. Because there's going to be some cool ministry that takes place in the next few months, and y'all help make all that possible. So I'm going to bounce because I need to go mow my yard and then go adult and do some other stuff. So I hope y'all have a great day, and I hope to see you at a con soon. God bless y'all. Have a great day, and peace out. As soon as I stop the button. Okay, bye.